Today, we're diving into something that honestly shapes the very core of our lives, both personally and spiritually. It's all about companionship. The people we choose to keep close, they don't just influence us. In a lot of ways, they can actually define our direction. So let's get into what that really means. So right off the bat, let's just pause for a second. I want you to really think about this question as we go through this explainer. Who are the people really shaping your heart right now? Because this is way deeper than just who you hang out with. It's about who you give permission to influence your inner world. And that brings us to our main guidepost for today. It's this profound piece of wisdom from the Al-Hikam. Just look at this sentence. It sets an incredibly high standard for the company we keep, doesn't it? It's telling us to look for something way more than just a good time. We should be seeking out people who genuinely elevate us. So what does it actually look like to apply a standard like that to our own lives? Well, it means we have to completely change how we measure our relationships. We've got to move past all the superficial stuff and go for something much, much deeper. And here's where it gets a little tricky, a little counterintuitive. This wisdom is warning us against the very things we often gravitate towards, right? How smart someone sounds, how much they talk, how pious they seem on the outside, or even what their reputation is. All of these things, they can be really misleading. So the real test, the true measure, it's always internal. When you are with this person, what is happening inside of you? Does their presence kind of wake your heart up? Does it make you want to be more sincere, more humble? And here's the million-dollar question. Does the pull of the world get a little bit weaker? And does your awareness of God get stronger? That's the litmus test. And that internal test, it leads us to this really crucial distinction we have to make. Are we actually being elevated by someone's company? Or are we just being impressed by their personality? Okay, this is so key. Some people, they leave you feeling really impressed with them. Their knowledge, their charm, it all just points back to how amazing they are. And that can actually become a trial, a distraction. The real gift, the true gift, is the person whose presence doesn't make you think about them at all. Instead, it just makes you remember God. But hold on. It's not just about avoiding people who impress us. There's another danger, and this one is a lot more subtle. It's the kind of company that doesn't challenge us at all. The kind that makes us feel a little too good about ourselves, a little too comfortable. You know how it starts. It's this quiet, little internal thought. You look at the people around you, maybe folks who seem to be struggling, and this really dangerous idea can start to creep in. And then it just builds on itself. You start to measure your own spiritual life against what you think their shortcomings are. You might find yourself thinking, well, at least I do this, or at least I'm not like that person. And this has nothing to do with humility. It's just feeding the ego. This kind of company, the kind that makes you feel superior, it's like a spiritual sedative. Instead of waking you up and pushing you to grow, it just gives you this false sense of security. It basically puts your heart to sleep, tricking you into believing you've already made it. So, how in the world do we recognize these influences that can lull our hearts to sleep? Well, to help us out, there's a really powerful framework that sorts people's influence into 3 different types of guides. Understanding these is absolutely key. Okay, let's break down the first 2. First, you have the deceiver. This is the person who's always pointing you toward worldly things, your image, your status, your success. They might seem like they're helping, but they're really just trapping your heart in the material world. Then you've got the exhauster. This is the guide who just pushes you to do more, but never connects any of it back to the divine. That path, it just leads to burnout because it makes you feel like everything is on your shoulders alone. And this quote just brings it all together so perfectly. After the deceiver who points to the world and the exhauster who points to your deeds, you have the third type, the one who points you to God. That's the true advisor. They don't get stuck on the world, and they don't even get stuck on your actions. They take your heart straight to the source. And this realization leads us to another critical insight. It's not about the number of good things we do, but the quality of the heart they're coming from. I mean, this table just flips our whole understanding of value upside down, doesn't it? Just think about it for a second. A tiny, seemingly insignificant good deed can be spiritually massive if it comes from a heart that isn't looking for any credit. On the other hand, you could have a whole mountain of impressive-looking deeds that are almost worthless if the heart is still attached to what people think. So, at the end of the day, we just can't be fooled by appearances. Not in other people, and definitely not in ourselves.
The real weight of any action is measured by the sincerity of the heart it came from. Period. Okay, so we've got all this amazing wisdom. The big question is, how do we turn it into a practical tool? How do we actually use this as a compass for our own hearts when we're choosing who to be around? Well, here it is. This is basically the checklist. This is what you look for. The right companion doesn't put your heart to sleep. They wake it up. Their presence alone just brings you back to God. They don't make you feel satisfied and smug. They help you be truly honest with yourself. They help loosen the world's grip on your heart. And just by their state, they teach you how to trust in your Lord. And if you want to boil this entire idea down to one single image, this is it. A false companion, well, they ultimately lead you to admire yourself, and they tie your heart to them. But a true companion, a true guide, they help you become honest with yourself, and they take your heart directly to your Lord. So, we're going to end right where we started, with a question for you to take with you. As you go about your life, look at the people you've allowed to shape your heart, and ask yourself this one simple thing. Are they helping you become more honest with yourself, or are they just making you admire yourself? The answer to that, that's your compass.